Hi, it's Nancy Welliver again, naturopathic physician. And when last we met, we were talking about poop and the importance of discharge, really, because poop really is a word that really, for me, in that love, sleep, and poop triad, poop means discharge on all levels. So we were talking about the extracellular matrix and metabolic waste, and how metabolic waste is discharged from the cell into the extracellular matrix. The extracellular matrix actually gets dumped into the lymph, your lymph system, which is a system that people don't know much about. Well, I mean, lay people and actually doctors too. I have to say it was one of the areas that was not very well presented or studied when I went through naturopathic medical school. But your lymph really is cleaning out your extracellular matrix, and it's really important for good lymph flow to happen so that it can then dump into your circulation and basically get out of your body through the various routes of detoxification. Now, a lot of times we hear about, especially in the more popularized form of detoxification, we talk about people, A, will tell you that you need some sort of specialized product in order to detox properly, and B, that mostly what you're worried about detoxing are environmental toxins. And I just want to talk about those two issues just for a moment. So let's take the second one first. The environmental toxins certainly are very important to move out of your tissue, and the reason for that is because your body, as it is evolved through time, however long you think we've been here on this planet, your body wasn't exposed to certain chemicals and materials that are now commonplace in our environment. And certainly pesticides, scents like things that you smell off the dryer sheets, or that you have plugged into your outlet that, you know, give off a little spray of scent every so often, or perfumes, especially inexpensive perfumes or colognes. I often say that you know, the cause of cancer is the fear of bad smells, because scents are one of the, you know, they're very close actually in structure to chemical structure to pesticides, and most pesticides are neurotoxins, and most scents are also neurotoxins. And when we think about the rash of Alzheimer's and particularly ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, which used to be fairly rare, it's becoming more and more common, as is Parkinson's disease. And then we have things like autism and just generalized anxiety disorder, bipolar. You know, there's certainly inability to focus, all sorts of neurological issues that we have that we didn't used to have in the prevalence that we have in now. And those are primarily due to environmental toxins. People often worry also about heavy metals and the presence of heavy metals. I worry about those less than hydrocarbon-related products, and the reason for that is not because they're any less toxic in great quantity, but that the body has encountered them in smaller quantities since the dawn of time. And our bodies, although can get overwhelmed with the amounts that we are exposed to now, with the heavy metals, we at least have detox systems that are kind of made for those. And certainly not in the doses that we get exposed to them now, but at least they're a little bit more natural to the body than hydrocarbons and plastics and pesticides and things like that. So it's true that you have some level of environmental toxins to detoxify. However, the great majority of what needs to get out of your body is actually metabolic toxins. So, which we talked about in the last video, about how metabolic toxins are a result of your cells' metabolic properties, where they do things like make proteins, hormones, etc. So, even if you were in the purest environment in the world, you would still need your detox mechanisms. Now, second thing, you don't necessarily need to take specialized products in order to detoxify your tissues. In fact, you detoxify your tissues every single moment of your life, otherwise you'd be dead. So I really encourage you not to do detoxes. And the reason for that is what happens is the body stores toxins that it can't release immediately in tissues. Okay? Most often adipose tissue, but certainly that's not the only place. Usually the body will store things in the tissues that it either the toxin has an affinity, a built-in affinity for. For example, mercury has an affinity for the nervous system. Lead has an affinity for the bones. And most of your hydrocarbon-based products like pesticides, perfumes, those things will go into the adipose tissue. When you do a detox with these specialized products that force detoxification, often what happens is you move these toxins from one compartment that the body stored them in to another. So you've got one place where it might be the safest place for the body to have put this stuff, or it might be a tissue that's habituated to this local irritation. And now you're moving this stuff out. Good. But where are you moving it to? If you get it out of the body at that same time, it's great. If you sweat it out, if you poop it out, it's great. But if you're holding onto it and just moving compartments, you might be moving it to a place where you might do greater harm, because the body would have let go of that stuff on its own if it had all the resources to deal with it. So it's a way of really manipulating things that I think is not in the patient's or the client's best interest. So I really encourage you guys to not do detoxes. I encourage you to promote detoxification through healthy eating. Now, the things that really promote detoxification are green veggies, things with chlorophyll, which are green veggies, things with fiber, which are green veggies, and really all plant-based foods will have lots of fiber. Water, so making sure your patient is well hydrated, and there's all sorts of different formulas for that. I usually say 80 to 120 milliliters, no, 80 to 120 ounces of water per day for most, at least Americans, who are the population I work with. Some people think that's a fantastic amount, and it would be if we weren't trying to move out all these toxins. Yes, so we got plant-based foods and we got water. And those are my two biggest detox products that I use. So you can find those at your local grocery store, and the water comes out of your spigot. Not hard to access for anyone. So that's the deal about detoxification. Now, it's important that we honor the routes of detoxification. For instance, there's a fad right now where you don't have to have your menses more than 4 times a year. Just take some hormones and you'll be fine. That's ridiculous. I understand the underlying theory around it, but really I think if you've got the chance to detoxify, I think it's one of the reasons why women live longer than men is because they have a better route of detoxification in order to detoxify for the children. You know, use that route of detoxification. Bleed, sweat, Women will take all sorts of things so they don't have to have night sweats. You're having night sweats because your menses stopped, your water-soluble toxins lost that route of detoxification. Now they're coming out through the next place, which is your sweat. Water-soluble toxins. If you don't sweat, what you're going to do is you're going to put that load on the kidneys, and then your kidneys are going to start having problems. You'll end up with what we now call overactive bladder syndrome. That's a direct result of not allowing women to sweat when they move into menopause. So sweat. These are things that need to happen. They're not comfortable, but they need to happen. Another one is eczema. At some point in time, eczema will need to happen as people heal from chronic disease. It's a bitch. Sorry for my language, but people don't like it. It needs to happen. So that's the skinny on detoxification and on discharge. Thanks very much for listening. 10 minutes is up. Bye.